Hi, welcome to Papa's Workshop. Today has finally come when it's time to start testing out the new laser. Today I'm going to be talking about the software that I chose and setting up the laser to be able to actually engrave some wood material. So with the glasses on, let's get started. With safety in mind, the first thing I want to be able to do as I enter the shop is be able to turn on the light above my laser and use sign. This light, even though it didn't come out in the video, is actually red. Now, one of the first decisions that I had to make is which software was I going to use to be able to operate the J Tech Photonics Laser. And I had looked at a lot of different options. I had also talked to Jay at J Tech Photonics and got a lot of recommendations, and I did a lot of research. In the end, I decided to go with the LightBurn software. And there were some definite reasons that I wanted to do that. One, it was a very self-contained product, and it was very easy to learn. And self-contained, by that I mean you can do the design work, finish your project, and send it directly over to the laser without having to send it through a post processor or through another software. So in that respect, it's somewhat similar to the easel in that it's all self-contained. That feature I liked. The other thing that I liked about it is that using this software, there were some small changes to the firmware that had to be made. Those changes did not affect the operation of the CNC machine. So in essence, I can switch from the LightBurn software using the laser, switch over to the CNC machine with the router, and keep right on going and have no interruptions. That is a fantastic option. So it's the best of both worlds. It's truly like having two machines in one. To be able to download the LightBurn software was very easy and very straightforward and really uneventful. So I'm really not going to go into any of the details on that unless you guys have questions. So leave a comment down below. But what I wanted to do is just start out and show you some of the features on this. And I'm going to slide this over so we can get the whole thing into the picture. But this column here is very easy, straightforward, similar to any other software. And what I wanted to be able to do, I could just say, click on the text for an example, and bring it over anywhere in my work area. And click on that, and I'm just going to say, hello, world. Now, with that in position, I can actually make this as big or as small as I want it. By highlighting this, I can make it bigger, make it smaller, and this would be ready to be able to carve or to put on the laser to actually engrave. The other thing that I can do with this, over here, if I wanted to have a line and a fill, just click both, and it's going to do it at the same time. Right now, with the line, that's all that it'll do. The other nice thing about this is that with this feature right here, it'll zoom in just to the work area. You have the size right here of it. So right now, this is a little over 3 inches tall, and it's a little over 23 inches long. Certainly way too big for what I want to be able to do. So what I can do is just change the size, and let's say I want this, let's say it's just 6 inches, and then it narrows it down. Because I have the lock here, it keeps the aspect ratio correct. So now this is 0.8655 as far as the height. So this is very easy to work with, very easy to learn, and I absolutely love it. The other thing that I wanted to be able to show is this little green dot right here in the middle. That green dot is actually the job origin. If I wanted to put that in the bottom left-hand corner, I could. I can literally put this anywhere that I choose to just by clicking this job orientation. The other thing that you can do here, you have the current position, have the user origin, or the absolute controls. Basically what I like to do is have it set for the current position, meaning that I can tell the machine that's where my project is and that's where I want to start. A lot of people use the bottom left-hand corner of their work area. I choose not to do that. I don't do that using the easel software when I'm using a router and a CNC. So this makes it where it's perfect. I don't have to do that here. The other thing I want to point out too is with the changes that was made in the firmware, it's important to note that there was no changes needed to go back to using the router. Now that is important to say that my router, I manually turn it off and on. I do not let the X controller do that. And I do not have any of the iOS relay that would control the machine. So with those two factors in place, then there's absolutely nothing I have to do to switch from the LightBurn software over to the easel and using the CNC machine. A lot of these different icons up here are very, very simple, very straightforward, as you would find on any of the different software packages. And that's why this is so easy to be able to learn. And just to give you an idea, you do have the zoom in, you have the zoom out function. I've already shown you this one. There's a camera mode here that we'll talk about later if I set up a camera. This will give you a preview of how it's going to carve. So right now it's going to carve just a line. And if I select the fill and the line and then click on the preview, then it shows you the whole thing. The red in here actually shows you the space when it's jumped and it's not doing the engraving. Moving on across, you have the group, ungroup functions, you have the mirror images, you have all your alignment features here. So again, it's a very straightforward type of software. Over on the left side, you have all the different objects that you can create. Just that simple. If I wanted to create another one and put it right there, I could. Now I have two lines. It's just that easy to click, drag, and make the objects. We've already talked about the text, and this sets the laser position by clicking onto the page, and that shows my little green dot right here now because it's including this entire area now as a project. This is the offsetter tool right here. So it puts my circle and offsets it by the 0.315 in this example without changing anything. And I can change this to anything that I want. Very, very easy to be able to do. These are the functions down here that actually weld components together. So if I select this whole entire grouping now, and if I wanted to weld it together as one, I could do that. So this is again very useful functions here. And we'll get into more of these different items as we go along through this journey of learning the software. But it's taken me literally about 10-15 minutes to learn this software to the point where I can actually carve and get the laser engraving working, and I love it. You can also control the power settings over here, and right now you have the speed. This is set for inches per minute, and the power is set for 100%. Depending on the materials that you're going to be using, this will change, and it's very definitely an experiment. I would strongly suggest testing it on a sample piece before doing it on the actual project that you're doing. Now, to be able to set this up, to be able to do the engraving on this word "Hello World" is really very straightforward. You have a list of the different choices down here, and this is not the complete list because I can go up here to the window and see a complete list. But right now what I need to be able to do is just simply go over to move. What I want to be able to do is show you these controls here. This is the distance of movement right here. Right now it's 0.01, but I can change that by simply typing in, let's just say 1.0, and it's going to move 1 inch. So if I come over here and click on that, it will move 1 inch. So this is very easy to be able to do. I can go in any direction that I want to be able to move it. The next thing that I want to show you, down here you have a fire, and what this does, this is set at 3% power. What I can do with this is align where the starting point is going to be. So for this example, my starting point, the current position is right here at the green dot. That's where it's going to start. So if I want to be able to position the laser on my workpiece, I can actually move this to about where I think it needs to be, and then I can hit the fire and it will show me, and I don't need glasses for this, but I can look down here, that's 3% power. I can now move this anywhere that I want to be able to say, okay, that's where I want the starting point. So I'm just going to set it right there for an example, and that's going to be my start point. From the top of my material to the bottom of the laser needs to be 1/8 of an inch to be able to get the proper focus for the laser. Now this wood's a little bit warped, so I'm going to turn it around this way, and I'm going to set it right there. That will work good because now it's flat all the way across, and that'll work. So that's where my start point's going to be. So now we're going to go ahead and set this up to be able to engrave this. Back on the computer screen, now that we have this in position, I'm going to come over to the laser tab, and this shows current position. It shows this is my origin for this particular job. I know that I'm going to be carving this at 90 inches per minute with 100% power, and it's going to fill and put the line around it. So what I'm going to do now is just be able to grab my glasses. I'm going to reposition the camera, and then I'll hit the start button. The one thing that I like about this too, this is as noisy as it gets. There really is no noise connected with this. I have not reduced the volume at all. And you also notice there's no clamps. There's nothing that holds this down. There's no reason to, because the laser is not touching anything. So all you have to do is set the material down, put it in place, and start it. So for those of you who like to work at night and concerned about the neighbors, this is perfect. No more issue with noise and bothering the neighbors. Now you notice it did the engraving on the fill first, and once it completes this fill, it's going to go and do the line or the outline around the letters itself. there it is, all done. So there's the project finished. I think it looks fantastic, and I absolutely love the way that it does the fill and the line around the words. Now I took one of the floor samples. This happens to be cork, and I did the engraving of this logo, and I used this logo on another video where I actually carved it using the CNC machine. And I brought this logo into the LightBurn software and really had to do nothing to it at all other than get it to the size that I wanted to, and I sent it to the laser, and it did a fantastic job. Here's another example that I wanted to show you. Now this is a vinyl flooring sample, and you can see a little bit of the burning in here. And the other thing is, this little bitty tiny thin line is just one line without any fill at all. So you can see the extreme amount of detail that you can get. And I'm zooming in real close. That is a very fine line. So I've done now the vinyl, the cork, and wood to be able to test this, all with fantastic results. Now one of the things that I want to do is, I had mentioned to you, to be able to set the correct height for the Z-axis, it needs to be the laser itself 1/8 of an inch above the work surface. So to be able to accurately do that, I'm going to set up a little gauge using an 1/8 inch piece of plywood. And so that I don't accidentally throw that plywood away, I'm actually going to engrave on it the words for the 1/8 inch gauge so that I won't throw it away. So to be able to do this, all I'm going to do is just highlight this whole entire thing, and I can right click and cut it, and then I want to type in a new text, and I'm going to do the 1/8 inch. And just by clicking this button right here, it brings it right back center. I don't have to worry about moving anything. And I think what I want to do is go ahead and capitalize the G. So that's an 1/8 inch Z-axis gauge. Now then, from this, I want to resize this down to what I need. I don't need to have it this big. So all I need to do is just hit escape, or I can hit the little arrow up here, which is a select tool. And the one thing I haven't mentioned, if I go from the top left and enclose everything, it grabs the entire words. Anything that's within that box is going to grab. Now, if I come down and just don't quite catch everything, it's only going to grab nothing because this whole entire thing is grouped together. The difference is if I grab down here to bottom right and just barely touch it, because everything's grouped together, it's going to select everything. And this is very similar to many other softwares. So again, this is really nice. So now then, as far as the height, I think what I want to do is make this about a 1/2 inch high. So we'll make that at 0.5. So that's going to be very tiny. And I want to zoom back in. So that is the words that I'm going to do. My orientation is going to be the bottom left-hand corner. And I'm going to go ahead and now set this machine up. So I'm going to select move. I'm going to select the fire, so I know where my pointer is, and I'm going to move my wood into position. So I'm going to set that right into here. Okay, so I have this now positioned where I want it. I'm going to go ahead and get it square with the table. Let's go ahead now and engrave this. And all I need to do is just switch back over to the laser tab, grab my glasses, and we're ready to hit start. I've got the laser going in the background and it's engraving my gauge, but I just wanted to say, just look at how simple this is to operate. And remember, I knew absolutely nothing just a few weeks ago, and now I'm actually engraving things with my new laser. This is fantastic, guys. So if you've ever considered getting a laser and thought it was going to be too complicated, because I had those same feelings, I'm here to tell you it's not. This is a very easy transition, and it's a wonderful add-on to the X-Carve. And the LightBurn software is absolutely fantastic to be able to use with the CNC machine and your laser. Can't get much easier than that. Let's go back and check and see how this is going. Well, you can see this is going just great. It's almost finished. So you can see it does not take long at all to be able to do this. And again, I love this. I don't have to worry about clamps and hold down methods. I don't have to worry about noise. I don't have to worry about sawdust even. And there we go. My first project is completed. Man, take a look at that. Isn't that just amazing? That is going to be perfect. All I'm going to do now is just cut it out on the table saw and hang this up so that I can use it, because I do a lot of different size or thickness material, and this gauge will come in very handy. This was an earlier test that I had done, and I wanted to be able to see what it looked like with just using the line itself for the Hello World, and then I came back and did the fill and the line. Now, to engrave this cork floor sample, I actually had changed the rate down to 80 inches per minute, but I still left it at full power. And this turned out absolutely awesome. Now again, I used the fill and the line to be able to engrave this on the floor sample. I want to give you one more good close-up look at this and just how good and how sharp the details are. This is a fantastic addition. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also, check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.